Welcome to this web series, The Frugal Mindset, also known as Money and the Responsible Christian. This is the 9th topic in our Perspective series, where we ask, why aren't there more rich Christians? So why aren't there more rich Christians? There's 3 points to make here. First of all, by any reasonable objective standard, most of us Americans are rich. Remember, we spent the first and second episodes of this series, the series on perspective, talking about poverty and wealth. By any historical standard, most of us are very wealthy. Historically, it hasn't been until the last couple of hundred years that people have had any kind of reasonable standard of living, and our standard of living today in America is higher than the standard of living of any group of people who've ever lived in the world. Secondly, even by today's standards, even in today's world, most of us are quite wealthy. Remember, like a third of the world lives in extreme poverty. Look how well we live. We have such a high standard of living in America. We need to appreciate what we have and not judge ourselves by the neighbor just down the road, but judge ourselves by the blessings God has given us. And then third, in the portion of we are rich, I want to talk to you for a minute about what I'm going to call historical relativism. Historical relativism. Many of you have heard of John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller was one of the famous robber barons. He was the richest man in the world at the time he lived. He was worth $475 billion in 2026 dollars when he was alive. Adjusted for inflation, he would be the second richest man in the world today after Elon Musk. Mr. Rockefeller, in spite of his immense wealth, he never had access to even penicillin. He could afford beautiful dentures, but he did not have access to good dental care because it simply did not exist. He never had access to a microwave to warm up a snack. It would take him hours to communicate with someone in Japan by telegraph, and if he wanted to go to Europe, it would take him 1 to 2 weeks, and if he wanted to go to Japan, it would take him 2 to 3 weeks. If he was traveling in Texas in August of 1920, he would be extremely hot no matter what he tried to do to cool down, because air conditioning simply did not exist in automobiles in 1920. Living in Texas now, I would not want to exist without air conditioning in August. By the way, while Mr. Rockefeller certainly could afford to buy a fleet of Rolls-Royce Silver Shadows, they would break down frequently and be far less reliable than the cheapest Chevy Trax today. In most senses, a lower middle class American today has a higher standard of living than John D. Rockefeller did in 1920, the richest man in the world. Now, the second main reason there aren't more rich Christians, at least by today's standards, is because we can't handle wealth. Here's a section of a song by a beautiful artist named Ariana Grande. She's a lovely lady and she's incredibly talented, but let's listen to an excerpt from her song, 7 Rings.
I'd rather spoil all my friends with my riches. Think without therapy, my new addiction. Whoever said money can solve your problems must not have had enough money to solve them.
Now, I suggest to you that in contrast to the suggestion of the lyrics of Ms. Grande, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Money will not solve your problems. Indeed, often money creates more problems, though admittedly sometimes of a different kind. So many people with sudden extreme wealth go broke within a few years. Nearly 80% of all NFL players face financial hardship within 5 years of their retirement. 70% of all wealthy families lose their fortune by the second generation, and 90% of all wealthy families lose their wealth by the third generation. With wealth, many folks, like Ms. Grande, think their problems are solved, but quite the contrary most of the time. You're just trading one set of problems for a second and often more severe set of problems, and you lose perspective. Most of all, you have a problem where you lose perspective. Let's look at a Bible verse about these things. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 30, verses 7 through 9. 2 things I ask of you, Lord. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise I may have too much and disown you and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal, and so dishonor the name of my God. Few of us in America are so poor we need to steal to have food. Many of us fail to give thanks to God for all the blessings we have. We're already too rich. We simply often cannot handle wealth. Now let's go to the third reason why there aren't more rich Americans. It's because we ask with the wrong motives. James chapter 4, verses 2 through 4, you do not have because you do not ask God. When you ask, you do not receive because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. And Proverbs 28, verse 20, a faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. Now, I did a whole segment about riches being a blessing from God, and I did several segments about the problems with riches. How can they both be true? Let's look at the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 6, verses 24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. And finally, Psalm chapter 62, verse 10. If riches increase, do not set your heart upon them. As I said in an earlier segment, it isn't about what you have, it's about what or who has your heart. Thanks for listening. The last topic in this series is going to be anxiety and contentedness.